Indra Yogendram. Chant. Vasudevendra Yogendram Natva Jnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate. So to understand Vedanta, a seeker of moksha needs to have a Vedanta friendly mind. That is a mind sampanna with sadhan chatushtay sampatti. It is an inner wealth which is required to understand this knowledge. Unlike the worldly knowledge, where a person can get that knowledge maximum with some good IQ or some good concentration. This knowledge requires much more. We have seen, the people, some of them here, that they've got so many degrees written in front of their names, but they are not ethical and moral. There are many people who are unethical, who are immoral, but they are so well qualified. Like we have some of our doctors here, they can even steal their own patients' kidneys, and they can go and do a bypass surgery, and it is not really required. So such people cannot even come to a Vedanta class, leave alone understand Vedanta, God keeps such people away. To understand Shastra, we need to have a very pure mind. The person should have done Satkarma, he should have Sadguna, he should have Sadbhavana, he should have done some Nishkam karmas here. It can be, you can hear Vedanta, but to understand Vedanta, you require all these qualifications. You should be a virtuous person. You should have a very kind attitude towards all the living beings here. So Vedanta cannot be grasped so easily. And of course, this is not just enough. One has to put in the best effort to study Vedanta, which is known as prayatna. And most of all, grace is required. We need Ishvara, Guru and Shastra Kripa is required. So Ishvara Kripa becomes visible when the person gets blessed by a Guru to teach the Shastra, because without teaching the Shastra, nothing can be, the moksha cannot be reached, And once Shastra is understood, that is known as Shastra Kripa. We can understand intellectually, like we've studied, we can say, oh yeah, I've understood Vairagya, Vigat Raga iti Vairagya. Very simple. We have to get Vairagya from this world. So that assimilation, that actual sampatti happening requires Guru Kripa. Because in our culture, Guru is Shakshat Ishvara, So there is a stotra called Guru Paduka stotra. There is one as Guru stotra also, but there is one as Guru Paduka stotra. Because in our culture we worship Guru's feet. There is a ritual in all these ashrams where there is a Guru Pad Puja which is done with mantras and all that. Guru's feet are worshipped because he treads the path prescribed by the Vedas. He treads the Vedic Marga. And he stands rooted in those ideals, So they are worshipable because it's not possible, it's not very easy to tread that path. So, and since the Padukas, they touch Guru's feet, then the Padukas also become very divine. And in our culture, there is worship of Guru Paduka also, In most of the ashrams, there is an altar of worship where Guru Padukas are kept and they are worshipped. Most of it in the rooms of the students, they have that altar of worship because they seek Guru's grace. All this has to happen inside me. So this change, this transformation of life has to take place, and for that one requires grace. Even King Bharat, he took Ramji's padukas and kept it on the throne for 14 years. He didn't sit on the throne himself. So that is the reverence we have for Guru Padukas. And there is a stotra which say it is Guru Paduka Stotra. It is supposed to be written by Adi Shankaracharya for his guru. But some people say that one of the Shankaracharyas of Sringeri Mutt has written this for Adi Shankaracharya ji's guru, for Adi Shankaracharya ji's padukas. So this Guru Padaka Stotra has 9 verses, and one of the verse says, Shamadhi Shatka Pradvaibhavabhyam Samadhi Dana Vrat Dikshitabhyam Ramadha Vangri Sthir Bhaktidabhyam Namo Namaha Shri Guru Padukabhyam. Then another verse says, Kamadi Sarpa Vraj Gadurabhyam Vivekah Vairagyah Nidhi Pradabhyam Bodha Pradabhyam Dhrit Mokshadabhyam Namo Namaha Shri Guru Padukabhyam. So worship to Guru's Padukas, asking for Guru's grace. One is going to get Shamadhi Shak Sampatti, which we have been studying, So that actually to happen, so that I get Vivek, I get Vairagya, Then Sthir Bhakti Dabhyam, that stability for Bhakti will come. Then Kamadi Sarpa Vrajagarurabhyam, all that worldly desires are going to get kicked out from the mind. Vivekaha Vairagyaha Nidhi Pradabhyam, this Vivek Vairagya which we are banging our heads with, this will come with Guru's grace. And Tattva Bodha Pradabhyam, we can get the knowledge of Tattva Bodha and eventually moksha. So grace is very important. And these 4 sampattis, they actually, one sampatti takes one to the other sampatti. Like when we get Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha, then only we can get Vairagya to the Anitya, to this world. And once we have Viveka and Vairagya, then Shamadhi Shak Sampatti comes, And when we have all these 3, then the end result is Mumukshutvam. That is the desire for moksha. And desires we can't will, we can't command a desire. A desire has to happen. And so when we take care of all these, the desire is going to happen. So we have been studying Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, and we saw Shama, which is tranquility of the mind, which one gets by Mano Nigraha. Then we studied Dhamma, which is control of the senses, Uparama, which is performing our duties so that our mind is free from conflicts and guilts, and it is peaceful, which is a prerequisite for study of Vedanta. Now we will read further. Titiksha ka Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadi Sahishnutvam. Yes. So the students ask, what is the titiksha? And Guru is saying it is sahishnutvam. Sahishnutvam is endurance, tolerance for sheet, ushna. Sheet is cold, ushna is hot. These are the pairs of opposites which affect our physical body. And sukh and dukh, which affect our mind. So this is tolerance. Titiksha means tolerance or endurance for sheet and ushna, and for sukh and dukkha. So every human being's life, it is never ever going to be a smooth sailing life, It is not a bed of roses, human life. Everyone is going to face some painful, difficult situations in life. So that is why, all the stories in these Mahabharata, Ramayana and all these stories, they tell us that nobody's life is free from these difficult situations. Bhagwan Ram and Krishna's life was full of challenges. Bhagwan Krishna was born in a jail, so his problems started right from there. And Bhagwan Ram was sent to the forest for 14 years, where not only did he have to live in such difficult situations, but he also had to deal with so many demons. And the greatest of them all was this Ravana he had to deal with, So we should not even expect that our life is going to be free from difficult situations. And whenever these difficult situations affect our physical body, it is known as Vyadhi in the Shastras, And when our mind gets affected by the difficult, painful situations, it is known as Adhi. So, Adhi, Vyadhi, Sahit Janma. We are going to face these situations in life. So, if the physical if a physical problem remains limited till my body itself, then that is not such a big problem. But if we have no mental capacities to bear that, then our mind is affected because of that. And that leads to Adhi, and Adhi is a bigger problem than Vyadhi, So, as per the two, this is a bigger problem. Adhi is a bigger problem. And whenever the mind is affected by Adhi, the mind becomes a burden, Ashantasya manobharaha. And then we are carting this mind everywhere, like this burdensome mind we have to go around with everywhere. And because of that, the life becomes one big struggle. So this capacity known as endurance, tolerance, called titiksha, it is that emotional strength because of which we can avoid mental disturbances which are caused either because of our own physical bodies or it is caused by this world, the people living here, their behaviors, So this capacity is known as titiksha. Now we have seen earlier that the source of pain is three. The dukkha comes to us from three sources. One is Adi Daivika, Adi Bhuta and Adhyatma. Adi Daivika sources are the natural disasters which happen here because of which one has to go through difficult situations here in life. And then Adi Bhautika are this trouble coming from this world, people and all the living beings here. And Adhyatma is the trouble coming from my own body, mind, sense complex. That is why we chant Shanti 3 times. So may this dukkha be obstructed from these sources, may it not come to me. But that is not in our control. So the only thing is in our control is that we prepare ourselves to face all this. So first thing to deal with Vyadhi is that I have to see that my own body has good resistance, it is fit, it is healthy, I have to work on that, Otherwise this world is full of so many pathogens, it's got so many bacteria and viruses here. And they are food borne, they are water borne, they are air borne. So if my body is not strong enough, then I'll be susceptible to all these diseases. And once I'm susceptible, then they are going to make my body a nice host and then we'll be suffering from so many diseases, So since I cannot control this world, I cannot control all these pathogens here, so I have to see to it that I develop this resistance. My physical body develops titiksha in Sanskrit. Similarly, we have to have the mental titiksha. Some mental resistance is required. We have to endure some trouble here because we can't go around telling everybody like you better behave yourself, because of your behavior I'm getting disturbed. So you behave as per my likes and dislikes, you live up to my expectations, But the other person wants me to live to their expectations, they want me to behave as per their likes and dislikes. So that is never a solution. The solution is to prepare myself to face this world, and I must have endurance to put up with it. We cannot control people's behavior. We cannot even control our behavior at times. We go around losing temper and getting irritable at small problems here, So just like, when we move on the roads, these potholes and filth which we have, especially in India, so we can't carpet all the roads wherever we go. So the best thing is put on a good pair of shoes, So similarly, I have to prepare myself because if my tolerance level is low, then the mental stress is going to be high. Because every small thing is going to disturb me here, So and if the mental stress is high, then all the time I'm in trouble and this is what I'm irritated and life becomes one big fat misery. So Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Sukha Dukkha Same Kritva Labha Labhau Jaya Jayo Same Kritva. kritva is keep your mind, same, equanimous, during sukh and dukh, labh, alabh, like gain and loss, in victory and defeat. Keep your mind equanimous. We don't have to have a mind like a yo-yo, Like something nice happened and we're so thrilled, and if small problem happens then we're so depressed. We have to retain our mental equanimity by having tolerance, by having endurance. So that is why the Guru is saying here that sahishnutvam for sheet and ushna, these pair of opposites which affect our body. For sure they affect our body. That is why whenever anybody makes a conversation, how are you and how is the weather? This is the next question, because the weather does affect us. But we cannot expect our external environment to be so conducive that, that right AC temperature should be there all the time. It's not possible. And even if we are going to try and do it, we are making ourselves real delicate darlings, We are becoming slaves to luxuries. Otherwise, a little bit of change in weather and oh my God, it's so hot, it's so cold, it's so this thing. This has to be stopped. When we are sweating, we should appreciate the thermostat which God has given us inbuilt here. The sweating regulates our body temperature. When we sweat out, the body natural temperature is retained. And we should even appreciate that no matter how cold the place is, if we are there, this body temperature is going normal, So this is the masterpiece God has created. So we should learn to appreciate that instead of always making our external world very conducive to us and working and striving and earning money so that my world remains okay. It's better to make the body okay, In the summers, we'll sit in front of the AC all the time, don't want to move from there. And then we go out and we see on the road these rediwalas and the fruit vendors and all sitting on the roadside. They're so comfortably doing their job because they have a lot of endurance. But we have become slaves, to luxuries. So we are actually pampering our bodies and creating trouble for our own selves. What we need is some titiksha. So similarly for sukh and dukh, we have to have a little bit of tolerance. Little bit of, if our setup gets upset a little bit, there the problem starts inside, So this capacity of titiksha God has given all of us. But the only difference which varies from person to person is the threshold level. So, and pain is only pain when it is beyond my threshold level. I don't feel it as pain if it is within my threshold level. So it makes sense to increase our threshold level, And because it is dependent on my threshold level, so pain is very subjective. I don't have to compare notes with others because that person's threshold could be different from my threshold, So we must increase our own threshold. And once we do that, we can develop resilience, tenacity, immunity, prepare our mind for all kind of emotional shocks. Just like the car is fitted with a shock absorber, So our mind has to be fitted with that. Our mind has to become strong. Mostly we are working at the environment here, We are creating everything very conducive for us. Instead of that, the scriptures are telling us, you prepare yourself to face this life. Face the life with full courage and strength. That is why in our culture, in the Vedic times, the children were sent to Gurukula during Brahmacharya ashram, and they were made to live with bare minimum there. And they were made to go through certain difficult situations. They prepared the students for life ahead. So we must not resort to these easy ways here, indulging in luxuries all the time. We have to have titiksha. There is another text known as Vedanta Sara, which gives the definition of titiksha as Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilapa rahitam sa titiksha nigaddate. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. Dukkha is going to come. You endure that dukkha. Apratikara purvakam. Don't just keep on complaining and reacting to that, Chinta vilaparahitam. Chinta is worry. Vilap is verbalizing that chinta, always talking about it, telling everybody around, that, oh, this is my problem, this is my problem. So when you are free from all that, you're free from reactions, you're free from chinta and vilap, and you endure it, that is known as titiksha. Hence, titiksha is a very important spiritual sampatti, and we have to work to get this titiksha. Now we will read further. Shraddha Kidrishi Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. So student has asked, Shraddha Kidrishi, what is this Shraddha? And Guru is saying, Vishwasaha, trust, faith, reverential attitude towards the statements of Vedanta, Vedanta Vakyadishu, given by Guru, taught by Guru, is known as Shraddha. My trust and faith in what Guru is interpreting, because this Vedanta has to be interpreted, and there is a whole lot of misinterpretation going on here. So the right interpretation, I have to trust that Guru, that yes, I am getting the right information. And the other is trust in the Vakyas of Vedanta, the knowledge which Vedanta is giving. So we had seen the word Guru, it is made up of two syllables, Gu and Ru. Gu means the darkness of ignorance, and Ru is the remover of that darkness by giving knowledge. Gukarasya andhakaro vai, Rukarasya tannivartikaha, andhakara nirodhitvat, Guru ritya abhidhiyate. The Guru gives us this knowledge and removes the darkness of ignorance by teaching Vedanta. Vedanta, which is the Ant part of the Vedas, which is the spiritual portion of the Vedas, and the religious portion is known as Ved Purva. So the sign of having Shraddha is definitely a sign of Ishvara Anugraha. It's grace of Ishvara for a person to have Shraddha in Vedanta Vakya. Not everybody doesn't have the Shraddha. Most of the people only trust what science is saying because it can be proven. What science says can be proven, But the realm which Vedanta is talking about and the realm which science deals is not the same realm. It is different. So this world in front of us, this visible, empirical, experienceable, objectifiable world called Idam Jagat, this Jagat is known as Vyavaharika Satta in the Shastras, where we do Vyavahara with each other. And this Vyavaharika Satta is understood by us by 5 pramanas, 5 means of knowledge. By that we understand this world. And there are only 5 means of knowledge. There is no 6th means of knowledge. Whatever the Shastra is telling, that is it. Their classifications are it's unimaginable the way they give everything, So the 5 pramanas are, one is Pratyaksha Pramana. Pratyaksha is that I directly see this world through my senses. I am the witness, direct witness, like in the court, they'll say the witness, the most important person is the witness. He's directly seen something, directly heard something. So the first pramana is Pratyaksha Pramana, the most important one. Then we come to know a few things here by Anumana Pramana, which is inference. Like when we see smoke coming out from somewhere, we infer that there is fire over there. So by this method, I come to know this world here, Then the third is Arthapatti. Arthapatti is presumption. By presumption, I come to know a few things here. Like if a person has lost a lot of weight, then I will presume that either this person is ill or he's on a diet or something, because he's lost. So it is a method of knowing. So I come to know by Arthapatti. Then the other is Upamana, comparison. Like somebody will explain us something like saying that that person's tongue is as sharp as knife, or that person is as strong as a bull. So we understand exactly what the person is trying to tell us, So this is a method of knowing this world. And the fifth is Anupalabdhi, By the absence of something, we understand, we can talk about it. It's like somebody absent here in the class, we know, we can talk about it. So these are the 5 pramanas by which I come to know the Vyavaharik Satta here. And Vyavaharik Satta is commonly experienced by all of us. We are experiencing. But then there is a subjective world of our thoughts, our emotions and our dreams, which are my personal, that is my personal world, and that is known as Pratibhasika Satta. Science deals with these two. It deals with Vyavaharika and Pratibhasika Satta because both of them are matter. Matter is either the visible matter or the invisible energy, Visible matter is subtle energy and energy is gross matter, and these two are interchangeable, and science deals with these because it can be proven in the laboratory, But the cause of these two, the cause of Vyavaharik and Pratibhasik Satta is known as Paramarthik Satta. The cause, the truth of this world, and that is what Vedanta deals with, and that is not matter, that is the Atma, also called Chaitanya. In English it is called the spirit. And science has not reached there, and science cannot reach there, because this cannot be proven in the laboratory, This, when I realize it, it is a proof only for me, and I cannot prove it to anybody else. So a person who has moksha, you cannot figure it out. Who's got moksha and who doesn't have moksha? The appearance can be very deceptive, So self-realization is the proof, but it is only for that person who has realized. So this science cannot reach that, because to get self-realization you need a very pure mind, and that is the biggest catch here, So to get the pure mind itself is the biggest problem. So this is out of the realm of science. So definitely to begin with one needs Shraddha here, because nothing is proven here. With Shraddha one is coming here. Shraddha brings the person to the Vedanta class. Shraddha is going to make the person study. But the end result is not going to be Shraddha. It has to be studies, Vedanta is only understood by Jnana. There is no other way of getting moksha. Moksha is got by knowledge. Any spiritual teacher who is not teaching Vedanta can never help the person reach moksha, Whatever they are talking about, if this is not being taught, this is called sampradaya. You give the knowledge. This is a method of giving knowledge, is carrying on since the beginning time. From God it has started, and this is how one can get moksha. The Shastras have written it very clearly. There is no other way of getting moksha. Everything else, puja, japa, tapa, pilgrimage, even dip in that Mahakumbha, Triveni Sangam and Mahakumbha, can only give purification. It is for self-purification. It can definitely wash off some of our sins, but it cannot give moksha. These news readers and reporters are saying that a dip in that Triveni Sangam is going to give moksha, So that definitely does not give moksha. These stories are from Puranas, Purana stories. Vedvyasa ji wrote Puranas because people were not able to understand Vedanta. It's too subtle to understand. So everything was put into a story form. And story form is meant so that the people at least will follow a religious life. Because religion itself is a stepping stone for Vedanta, for spirituality. So whatever they are saying, they are only talking about the stories of Puranas. And what they are talking about, this mythical Saraswati river that is flowing underneath, it's invisible. That is a story from Puranas. What Vedanta says is that during, that very auspicious time when there was a special planetary alignment in reference to the sun, at that time, religiously, it was considered a very good, auspicious time for the people to come and take a dip at the confluence of our sacred Ganga and Yamuna rivers, So, for self-purification. So, at that time, when so many people gathered, it was the best time for the sadhus and mahatmas to come out of their caves and ashrams to come and hold satsangas over here. because their aim is only to give this knowledge, to the maximum people. And then there were so many people gathered. So these people would come during that time, and they would come and hold satsangas. And the flow of that knowledge was known as Saraswati, because Saraswati ji represents knowledge, and the flow represents a river. So the flow of knowledge is known as the mythical Saraswati. So Ganga, Yamuna, and the flow of this knowledge is the Triveni Sangam as per Vedanta. The rest is all from Puranas. And so we better know that all this which we are getting through all these practices is going to give me Gyan Yogyata. It will make me pure, and I can become Yogya to get Jnana, But eventually it is only going to be Jnana which will get me moksha. This is even depicted in the architecture of our temples. At least the famous temples, they are constructed as per this philosophy. They have many entrances, there are many doors to enter the temple, which represents that there are many ways to get purification, but there is only one door for the sanctum where the deity is kept. That means there is only one door, which is Jnana, to enter moksha. And even inside the temple, inside the sanctum, the deity is not, there's no light which is put on there. The deity is illumined when the arti is shown by the priest. So that means that inside us there is the darkness of ignorance, and with the light of knowledge, the deity, Atma, inside us is illumined. The self-realization happens with self-knowledge, and that is the arti, that is the light of knowledge, and that is what is happening inside the sanctum. So the entire temple architecture and what they are doing is based on the philosophy of Vedanta. So we must appreciate this. When I had gone to Annamalai temple, I saw that at the entrance there is a man who's literally bent like this, and the Gopuram is on his shoulders. Gopuram is the entrance tower of the temple, Now that depicts, that only Vedanta can tell all this, that depicts that the human beings, they think that the burden of life is on their shoulders, and so they are like that, they're so anxiety ridden, and the face is full of anxiety and worries. And that face over there was depicted so beautifully, The humans don't know that they are Atma themselves, which is Paramatma, and this life is one big fat drama. One has to take this very lightly, not get serious about this life, So everything in those temples, one has to appreciate once you come to know Vedanta. So Shraddha is very important, and just like, we have Shraddha, trust and faith in our doctors, because only then that medicine is going to work on me if I have trust and faith in my doctor. And then I will give that required time to the medicine to work, otherwise I'll say, no, this doesn't work, the doctor is not good. So if I have trust and faith, that medicine will work. Even placebos work, just with trust and faith, they work. And if I don't have trust and faith, it will not work. Similarly, this Shastra is going to do all the magic inside me if I have trust and faith in what the Vedanta Vakyas are being taught by the Guru. So Shraddha is very important. Then Samadhanam Kim? Chitta Ekagrata. So student wants to know what is Samadhanam. Samadhanam Kim? And Guru says Chitta Ekagrata. It is, Chitta means the mind, and Chitta means the Atma, Chitta, double T-A is the mind. So Ekagrata has Eka means only one, Agre, in front of me. Chitta Ekagrata, in front of me there is only one thing. So this capacity to focus my mind on something for a length of time is known as Chitta Ekagrata. Keeping my mind into a particular track of thinking for a length of time is known as Chitta Ekagrata. And this is a huge accomplishment. because the mind has the nature to move around. It is chanchalam, you know, and the mind has to move around because it has to perceive this world. But yet, as all the other capacities God has given us, God has given us this capacity also, that when we want, we can keep our mind focused on something, you know, and this capacity is known as samadhanam. And especially, you know, on things which we like, the things which are of our interest, we can very easily apply our mind. This practice of concentration in Patanjali Yoga is known as dharana. Yoga ways are all different from Vedanta, but this Ashtanga Yoga practice is used by Vedanta in many places because to get this body, mind, sense integrated, Patanjali Yoga stuff is used. Otherwise, their philosophy is different from Vedanta philosophy, you know. So whenever we have interest in some subject and we have value for that subject, we can apply our minds very easily. Now we see how the cricketers, what concentration those cricketers have. The batsman, when he is facing a bowler, a fast bowler, right? You know what single pointed concentration that person has. And even the bowler, when he is going to bowl. So these cricketers have such solid capacity of concentration, you know. And this is developed over the time. A person is unfit if the capacity is not good enough, you know. So this is the capacity. Then you see a greedy person when he's counting money, you know, what ekagrata that chap has, because he loves money. We may take, you know, our time to count the money, that fellow is going to go, you know, because that's what he loves. So there is whole ekagrata in what he likes. And a person who's reading his favorite novel, just see the ekagrata there. In one day he'll finish reading the whole novel, you know, because he loves that. So anything we like and we have value for, naturally this ekagrata is present there. But when we have to apply our mind into something which we do not like, we have no value for, then this mind runs away, you know. And especially in this today's technology, you know, this advanced technology world where we have so much, all this, you know, especially the social media which has come. Nobody can even think of Vedanta. Vedanta is nowhere in the scene. People are so much into all this all the time. They, even for a moment, you know, sometimes I see the courier persons waiting, and by the time you walk till there, they're already on the mobile. So nobody can stand still today without doing something, you know. The mind is restless. To make the spine calm, we have to know that these are certain values which we need to have. And concentration, where is all that habit of reading books and all gone with this technology which has come in? Gone are these days when people went to the libraries and all that. It's all finished, you know. So this ekagrata we can increase by having value for any subject, you know. And then we can train our mind. So like when we study for any worldly knowledge, we know what we are going to get out of it, you know. We are going to get some huge degree there, and that is going to fetch me so much. So then my interest will get developed, and then I will train my mind, you know, to study, and then I'll even start enjoying that subject because I'm putting my mind into it, you know. If you're not going to apply, oh, maths is very difficult, and chemistry is very difficult, and physics very difficult, you know. So I'm not, because you're not applying your mind. Once you start applying and find the subject is so interesting. And of course, the top of everything is Vedanta, you know. To reach Vedanta, to have value for this knowledge, you know, first one has to have learned some lessons in life here. This university of life should have taught me some lessons, and I should be able to see life and its limitations here. This has so many limitations, you know. And even if I can't see that, I can have the value by knowing the Gyan Phala which this knowledge gives. Which knowledge is going to give us Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti here. No matter what you do, there's no Mukti. You're just in the bondage. We're getting more and more trapped into things outside. Only earning money and only talking about that all the time. We don't realize the suffocation that is creating. The only thing which is going to just give us freedom, is Vedanta. So just by knowing that this Gyan Phala is so good, at least with that knowledge I can increase the value for Vedanta, and then start putting my mind into Vedanta. So the ekagrata should be for two things. First is the ekagrata for the goal of my life. And for that we have to know what is the goal of human birth, this goal of human life. That only is not known here. So, but once, with God's blessings, person has come to a Vedanta class and you come to know that the goal of life is moksha and I need to work for this goal of life, with ekagrata, single pointedly, I must work for this goal of life. Do not let any obstructions come in the way. Everything should be subservient. Everything takes a back seat. It is moksha, and I'm working for it. Single point, that is ekagrata for the goal of my life. Then we must have ekagrata, concentration, when I'm studying Vedanta. And I must love and enjoy studying Vedanta. Which better subject is there in this world, The subject which is telling me all about myself. This is self-knowledge, This is the best subject which one can get. How come people do not enjoy this subject is what is surprising, So we must have ekagrata for the goal and then ekagrata to study Vedanta. We can also improve our ekagrata, that is concentration, by doing dhyana and japa. Dhyana, which is meditation, in Vedanta it is called upasana. That is focusing my mind on Saguna Ishvara, on Saguna Ishvara's form and attributes. And japa is repeating a mantra or God's name repeatedly, So japa is known as mananat trayate iti mantra. So when we doing japa on a mantra, by that repetition, trayate, it is going to protect me from samsara, from the bondage of samsara. It will release me from the bondage of samsara. So it is a very important sadhana. Both these sadhanas are very important for a spiritual seeker, Name of anything and the form of anything, they are inseparable. The moment we think of a form, the name is going to come in front. And if we take a name, the form is going to come in front. So japa and dhyana are interrelated. So we can do a dhyana with japa, that is japa sahit dhyana, or we can do without japa, japa rahit dhyana. In the beginning, we should start with japa sahit dhyana, which becomes easier. We take the name. There is a formal initiation by a guru to the shishya known as mantra diksha, where the mantra is given by the guru to the shishyas. But that is not a must. It is one of the rituals which, if possible, it can be done. But this is not a must. There are so many mantras, and one can select one mantra, especially the name of our Ishtadevata. If the person is a Shiv Bhakta, he can choose Om Namah Shivaya. If the person is Vishnu Bhakta, then Om Namo Narayana. Ganapati Bhakta, Om Ganeshaya Namaha. Devi Bhakta, Om Saraswati Namaha, Om Durgaya Namaha. Whatever, whoever is our Ishtadevata, we select one mantra. And we can even write it on a paper, and in the puja, we put it at God's feet. And after the puja, take God's blessings and start doing that japa, And the japa, we can use a Rudraksh mala, Tulsi mala or Sphatika mala, whichever mala we have. There are so many malas, but better is Rudraksh or Tulsi mala. And the mala has 108 beads, and the 109th bead is not used in the japa mala, in japa. That is known as the Meru bead or the Sumeru, So we must hold the japa mala from the first bead between our middle finger and thumb, not the index finger. This index finger represents the ego, so it is not used for spiritual activities, So So we hold the mala and we, my Ishtadevta's name, Om Namah Shivaya, with all the feelings and seeing Bhagwan's form in front. We do one mala japa every day. It is a very important sadhana for a spiritual seeker. So as you keep doing the japa, then maybe you'll just you'll get absorbed into meditation, you'll just get absorbed in Bhagwan's form. In the beginning, we must do at least one mala japa every day, and gradually, when we do one mala japa, when we come to the Meru bead, we must not go across it. We have to turn the mala around and then go the other way around. That is what that 109 bead is meant for. It is a guiding bead. So we go from the whole mala and then we turn the mala around and again repeat. So we should do at least one mala japa every day and gradually increase the japas. And whenever there is free time, do japas. And even if you don't have the mala in your hand, you're in office, anywhere where you get time, close your eyes and Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. This is the way I'm going to increase my ekagrata, and this is the way I'm going to bond with God. It is for spiritual upliftment. Japa is very important, and so is dhyana. Dhyana and japa, they are not means for moksha. They are means to correct our mind. So our mind has to be purified, our concentration has to be increased, because this knowledge has to be not just intellectually understood, this has to get assimilated for me, so that I reach this goal in this life. Otherwise, we don't know what the next life is going to be. So this is a very important sadhana, and samadhanam is increasing my ekagrata. Then mumukshutvam kim? Moksho me bhuyad iti ichha. So what is mumukshutvam? The desire. Mumukshutvam is a desire. Moksha is the goal and mumukshutvam is the desire. And we have seen earlier that no desire we can will or command. The desire, even for worldly things, the desires happen as per our karmas, as per our actions, the desires, as per the importance I'm giving to the worldly things here. Those are kind of desires which will happen inside us, So they are kama, the sarpa, as it was said there, vrajagarurabhyam. So these are the sarpas, which will make me chase this world. And what will get me away from this world is the desire called mumukshutvam. Once mumukshutvam comes, then even if sadhan chatushte sampatti is lacking somewhere, then this mumukshutvam will take care of it, one can have shama dama without mumukshutvam. One can have tranquility of the mind, relative tranquility of mind, control over the senses, but not have mumukshutvam. But once we have mumukshutvam, then mumukshutvam is going to take care of everything, So this is what is required. It will even bring us all the other qualities which are lacking in us. Just like, how a devotee, bhakti is a vardhan at this relative level. A person who becomes a bhakta, he's got the vardhan of Bhagwan, that he's become a devotee of Bhagwan. So wherever this devotee goes, whether he's going to office, he's a devotee officer. When he comes home, he's a devotee father, he's a devotee brother, she's a devotee wife. So this devotee doesn't get displaced by the roles, because that has taken over his life. That is the most important thing in his life. Similarly, once mumukshutvam comes in a person, consciously we may be doing any activity here, but subconsciously this desire is driving me, that I want moksha here. I don't want to go from here without moksha. Conscious mind can only be applied at one thing at a time. When I'm doing, I have to apply my mind there. I can't be thinking of moksha at that time. But subconsciously, this desire is driving me. But the desire has to be intense. Then only the pursuit is intense. If the desire is that lukewarm desire, that yeah, I have such a huge to-do list, and I have to go for groceries, and I have to attend that party, and I even want to go for a holiday, and I even want moksha. That kind of moksha is going to take janmas to happen. But if one wants moksha right here, then it has to be an intense desire, and once intense mumukshutvam comes, everything is taken care of. But we know that mumukshutvam is not in our hands. So the entire journey up till now, mumukshutvam is being told in the end. The fourth sadhan chatushtaya sampatti is mumukshutvam. So once we prepare ourselves with everything, this mumukshutvam has to come. This is the end result promised by the scriptures, So the student wants that, may I get moksha in this life. This desire is known as mumukshutvam. So this is the fourth sadhan chatushtaya sampatti. Then etat sadhan chatushtayam tatah tattva viveka adhikarino bhavanti. Etat, this what we have been talking about up till now is sadhan chatushtayam, is the fourfold qualification, which is a sadhana for moksha, which is going to take me to moksha. Tatah, then when a person gets sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, tatah, in the Vedanta, they'll use the atah, tatah, and they have such a lot of meaning. This tatah is like loaded with the meaning over here. Tata, they'll just say tata, and that means what? You get all that sampatti, tataha. That means you have got that sampatti, So once that sampatti a person gets, he tattva vivekaha adhikarino bhavanti. He becomes, bhavanti means becomes, adhikarin, an adhikari. He becomes a deserving student, a deserving person to know Tattva Vivekaha. Here he's used the word Vivekaha. Otherwise the textbook is Tattva Bodha. But he's using the word Vivekaha here because the entire Tattva Bodha cannot be understood without Vivekaha. A lot of discriminating analysis is used here in Tattva Viveka for us to really understand. As I said, intellectual understanding, knowing the definitions and all that is just, is not getting us anywhere. So we have to know the exact meaning, and he's using Tattva Viveka. Once sadhan chatushtaya sampatti comes, this person becomes a deserving candidate for Tattva Vivekaha. Just like, in this world here, when we give those entrance examinations, for IITs and medical, and what a lot of struggle, and what an accomplishment it is, what happiness it brings to the student, because he has worked so hard, and eventually he has cracked it. I cracked that exam, I made it. So that is the worldly knowledge, it gives so much. And this is the highest knowledge, anything, nothing more than this is available for a human being. So getting sadhan chatushtaya sampatti is like clearing the entrance examination for spirituality. Once you get sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, you get the degree SCS, sadhan chatushtaya sampanna. You become sampanna with the sampatti. So we have to see that this sampatti comes not to be taken lightly, in the literal sense, not by definitions. We need grace here. We have to pray, do japa, do dhyana, and get this grace, and so that you can then eventually study this Tattva Vivekaha. This Tattva Viveka, of course, as I said, the person should have done Satkarma, he should have Sadguna, he should have performed Panch Mahayagna, we spoke about it, He should be a contributing person here. His life should not be that of a consumer. He should be contributing in this life, Best effort to give. Material success is considered when I take more and I give less to this world. And spiritual success is when I give more I'm not worried about taking, I've come here to give. So once that attitude is there, you're not come here to grab all the time. So what is going on here? People who ask them to give $10, they can't give. But once that attitude changes, the materialism becomes subservient and spirituality takes over. The person is ready to give. He is a, contributor here in this world. He has to see that anyone and everyone, he is to have sadbhava for all the people living in this world. He should have sadguna. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is a whole chapter which is talking about just the gunas. This is a sampatti, this gunas which one has to have. So once this comes, and because of that, once we get sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, we become a candidate to study Tattva Bodha. So here, this chapter of sadhan chatushtaya sampatti ends, and the next chapter, the topic totally changes. It is Tattva Viveka is going to start, which is Viveka about Tattva Bodha, and it is the actual Vedanta which is going to start now. So we will enter. We'll take that from the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat